Hello guys and welcome to a new video. This is going to be episode 3 of the Q&A sessions with Pat. On this series, I post a story on my Instagram asking you guys to ask me questions and I try to answer them to the best of my abilities. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So if you guys have any questions for me, make sure you follow me on Instagram and make sure you check out my stories ever so often. I do one of these once a month. So if your question didn't make it to this video, don't worry about it. You'll have plenty of opportunities for your question to make it to another video. All I ask is that you drop me a like, drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel like your man if you haven't yet. And if you want to buy Pat a cup of coffee or maybe keep him hydrated with an IPA, just hit the join button down there and it'll be well appreciated. The channel members are actually the guys that are keeping the channel going. Because let's be serious, the channel is still very small and I'm not getting a lot of views yet. So yeah, my revenue is barely about $10–15 a month from Google AdSense. That is not a lot. Okay, so let's get started. First question, first band you were in. The first band I actually played in was Rock Ensemble at the Miami Beach Senior High School, the high school I actually went to. But I only stayed there for like one semester because the guy actually wanted me to play and sing Sugar, and there was no way in hell I was going to do that, on stage or off stage. Can you imagine that? I was that guy that wore that Cannibal Corpse t-shirt to high school and got kicked out for wearing that vile shirt and was happy and proud about it. I was not going to play no Sugar. So then my first actual band was called Serpentthorn, and it's basically the same band that I'm in today because I wrote all the songs for Excelsis Tenebrae back in high school. Well, actually all the songs except for 2. So these songs that I'm just releasing now are probably as old as some of you. They are 16, 17 and 18-year-old songs. That's ridiculous. One funny thing though, these songs actually went from being cutting edge and modern to being old school and classic death metal. So yeah, I guess they actually aged well. So that's awesome. I can look back at the songs and I can release them now and they still sound fresh and they still bring some new to the table. Next question, things you don't like about Queen. I mean, I love Queen for whatever it is. I couldn't really picture them being something else. I don't really dislike anything about Queen. I certainly can't blame them for trying different stuff and trying something new. In fact, that is what made Queen Queen. The fact that they would actually go out and try different things and try to incorporate other genres onto a rock music, onto a rock band. And all the members being as different as they are, they actually contributed to the personality of the band. I mean, you had the really shy bass player who wrote most of the hits, John Deacon. You had the good-looking drummer that could actually drum and play the guitar, and he was a great singer as well. Then you had the amazing genius of a guitar player, Brian May, who could really arrange a lot of songs, but actually took pride on his tone and getting it from his own guitar. And then of course the frontman, the most macho and manliest gay frontman, who was flamboyant as hell and still got away with it. And what a voice. So yeah, things I don't like about Queen, the fact that it ended too soon. Death metal or thrash metal? That's a really good question. I do like death metal way better than thrash metal, no question. But the thing is, for me to actually listen to and enjoy death metal, I have to actually be in a quiet environment, only paying attention to the music. It doesn't really work as background music, not the death metal I like anyway. So I end up listening to classic rock, heavy metal, thrash metal, or even black metal more than I listen to death metal. But death metal is definitely my favorite genre. It is technical, it is fast, it is hard to play, and it really pushes your boundaries, both as a performer and as a composer. So yeah, death metal all the way. What are your thoughts on slam death metal, and what are some bands you like in that genre? I don't really care for slam death metal, so I don't really have a favorite band there. Favorite black metal bands, here we go. Dissection, Dark Funeral, Immortal, Emperor, Old Dimmu Borgir, 1349, Old Man's Child, Keep of Callison. That's just off the top of my head, and I'm sure I am forgetting one of my favorites, and I'm going to want to kick myself in the butt for forgetting them once I'm editing this video. Napalm Death versus Cannibal Corpse. Definitely Cannibal Corpse. I do really like a lot of Napalm Death stuff from the 90s, but not so much the newer stuff. Whereas Cannibal Corpse, I liked the Chris Barnes era. I liked it when George Fisher came in, and I just started listening to like Kill and Skeleton Domain and Red Before Black, and they still got it. Were you ever into the black metal scene? I do love black metal. I mean, personally, I would never wear corpse paint, but if you listen to Excelsis Tenebrae, it's got a lot of black metal influences, both musically, lyrically, and aesthetically. I do love the mountains, the darkness, the snow. I would never burn down a church. But not because of the religious crap, but because of the fact that I love architecture, and churches have some of the best architecture ever made. Who's your favorite bass player? I'm actually going to choose 4, and for very different reasons, because they are all very different, but they are all great at what they do. John Deacon, of course, most underrated bass player ever, and musician for that matter. Alex Webster from Cannibal Corpse, amazing bass player. He's always playing some sick ass riffs with his fingers along with the guitars. That's awesome. Billy Sheehan, another beast. Probably the only bass player, or at least one of the very few, that could keep up with Paul Gilbert. And Glenn Hughes. Funny thing about Glenn Hughes, I don't really like any of the bands that he's played in, but I have tremendous respect for him as a bass player, as a musician, and as a singer. The fact that he's almost 70 and he still belts out songs like he does is just simply amazing. Jason Becker. Yes. I want to hear you play some Queen right now. If you don't, you're not a man. Challenge accepted. Okay, let's do this. This is Ogre Battle from the Queen 2 album. Checkmate. Thanks, man. I needed that. Alright guys, so I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop me a like. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel like a man if you haven't yet. And if you want to buy Pat a cup of coffee and keep him focused, or better yet, if you want to keep me hydrated with an IPA or two, just hit that join button down there and make it happen. I would really appreciate it. I will see you guys next time. Pat out, metal on, dudes.